Ugh, this sucks. I'm lying on a futon that's so thin, it's hard to get comfortable. That might explain why I've not been able to fall asleep yet. Well, that and Kunikita snoring. It's been pretty hard to doze off of him making such a racket. Kunikita is the shortest guy on the whole team. He's even shorter than Noah, which at least saves my childhood BFF the indignity of being the very littlest. But he's also one of the loudest. He's also babbling when he's awake, and it's not like he gives us a break while he's asleep either. To make enough noise to wake the dead. I don't have anything against Kunikita. I think he is pretty fun to be with, actually. At times like this, he does get on my nerves. I have to wonder how the rest of the guys on the team were able to nod off. He's always making such a racket. The other guys, however, all seem to be fast asleep, at a cursory glance, at least. How can they be so relaxed? I don't get it. I've been tossing, turning for at least the past few... Jeez, I don't know how long it's been. Maybe I should check. I glance at my phone, which was lying near my pillow, wincing as the screen switches on. It looks very white and very bright in the late night gloom. It takes me a while to adjust my vision. I have to blink white spots away from my eyes, but when I finally do, I gasp. It's past midnight. 12:34 to be precise. It really is late. I've been trying to sleep for over an hour and I still haven't been able to switch my brain off. Talk about a wasted effort. Ugh. I switch my phone off and sit up. With blurry, half-lit eyes, I cast my gaze around our room. Coach Inoue booked us into a cheap motel room for the night, and there's only one room for all of us to sleep in. It's a pretty large room, granted, so it's not like we're all sandwiched together, but it's hard for me to relax around this many people. It'd be easy to doze off, I guess, if Kunikita will quit snoring. But life, of course, isn't that easy. Kunikita's snoring isn't the only thing on my mind either. I've been laughing and joking about it all day, but now that our game is less than 24 hours away, it's hard to act unaffected. I know I need to get some shut-eye if I want to perform to the best of my abilities when tomorrow arrives, but how can I? It feels impossible. I cast my gaze around the room once again, but there's not much to see other than the futons lying on the floor and the bodies on top of them. There's Kunikita immediately to my left, lucky me, and Aoki just past him. Beyond Aoki, I can see Matsuda and Oyama. Then to my right, there's... Huh? Noah should be there, but his futon's empty. Wonder where he got to. The bathroom, maybe? I didn't hear him get up, though. Noah's always been stealthy like that. He's very quiet, just like a cat. You wouldn't think somebody so reserved would be any good at a competitive sport like basketball, but Noah's surprisingly gifted. Maybe his talents aren't all that surprising, though, when you consider how much he practices. In any case, Noah isn't here. I wonder how long he's been missing. I look past the sleeping figures of Kunikita, Aoki, and Matsuda beyond him, until my eyes snag on the screen door which leads to the balcony. The door's just about closed, but it hasn't been pushed all the way to the jamb, so there's a bit of a crack. That explained why it felt so draughty inside. I'm sure Coach Inoue closed the door before we all turned in for the night. He's pretty protective, despite being so strict. I doubt he wants any of us to come down with colds before our match. Somebody must have slipped outside. And since everybody else is fast asleep, there's no point on guessing who. I'm no detective. I'm not smart enough for that. My grades are pretty terrible across the board, but even I can figure this one out. I wonder what prompted Noah to head outside, though. Has he also been having trouble sleeping? I guess there's only one way to find out. Heave! Ha! I get to my feet as quickly as I can and pad over to the balcony. Then, I reach for the groove in the screen door and slide it open. It's a chilly night, and I'm buffeted in the face by the wind the moment I stepped outside. One of the guys groans in his sleep. Oyama, maybe? And I worry I might have made too much noise. I've not woken him up, have I? Oyama turns over eventually, however, and he doesn't utter another peep. It doesn't look like he'll be bothering us after all. Thank goodness for that. Right now, it's just me and Noah. He's right where I thought he'd be, leaning against the balcony's railings with a glazed, distant expression on his face. He might be looking out at the darkened streets, but I don't think he's really seeing them. He'd even turn his head when I said the door opens now. He really must be in deep thought. He's always been pale. That'll be his old man's influence, but he looks almost ghostly beneath the moonlight. His hair, which has always been a bit tousled, it refused to lie flat, looks downright distressed, and he's gripping the balcony's railings a touch too tightly. I can see his knuckles standing out beneath his skin. Alright, that's not at all alarming. Hey Noah, is something wrong? Oh, Mikage! Noah glances at me at long last, as though he's only just noticed me, which, given how intently he was staring out at the city, really might be the case. What are you doing awake at this hour? You're seriously gonna ask me that? I smirk. I could say the same thing to you, mister. What are you doing awake at this hour? It's past midnight. It is? It was when I checked earlier, yeah. I couldn't sleep, so I was thinking about going for a stroll when I saw the door to the balcony was open. I wonder if you'd come out here because your futon was empty and you hit the jackpot? You could say that. I grinned and take a step towards Noah, my shoulder brushing against his. So what's eating you? You worry about tomorrow's match? Aren't you? Yeah, I've been thinking about it all day. Would not be able to get any sleep. Huh. Well, I guess it tracks. I've been to a lot of games with Noah over the last few years, but this is by far the most significant. Through a combination of hard work, raw talent, and a little bit of luck, we've been able to make our way through the Inter-High Basketball Championships. We emerged from the Inter-High victorious and were able to secure a spot in the prestigious Winter Cup. Tomorrow's match, though, I guess it'll be happening later today. It's the final match of the Winter Cup, and it's the deciding one. We play a lot of games to get this far. We competed against a lot of talented teams. It's been a struggle, but we're finally here, at the end of our journey. We only have one shot at our upcoming match. If we fail, all of our efforts leading up to this point will be not for nothing. It sounds a bit too dramatic. It'll definitely put a damper on things. This will probably be the last basketball match. After all, I'll get to play with Noah. We're both in our third year at school. Our university entrance exams are looming on the horizon, and after we sit those, we'll graduate. We only have a couple of months together left. I'd like my last year of high school to go out with a bang. Winning the Winter Cup would certainly be a way to do that. We got pretty far in the tournament last year too. We were eliminated in the finals of the Inter-High, but we managed to beat our last record. I don't want to stop here though. I want to keep pressing on. I want to take that trophy home, damn it. We came all the way out to Tokyo for this. From our school out in Ibaraki, the bus journey took us a whole 5 hours. It was pretty tiring. We don't live out in the boonies, but our town's a small one. It's pretty humble. There certainly aren't any huge skyscrapers in Ibaraki like the ones I see in Tokyo, piercing the skyline. Everything in Tokyo is on such a huge scale. I can't help but be impressed, or maybe that word should be overwhelmed. I still can't believe we've come this far. It doesn't feel real. Oh? I grinned, then nudged Noah in the side with my elbow. Do you want me to pinch you? Would that help? I think I'll pass, if that's all the same to you. It's chilly enough that I can tell that this isn't a dream. My fingers are freezing. Yes, you have a point. It's the beginning of January, and though it hasn't been snowing, in Tokyo at least, it's pretty cold. My shirt isn't doing much to protect me from the wind, and my feet in particular are starting to tingle. I really should have put some socks on before I stepped out here. I'm going to wind up with frostbite if I'm not careful. That'll improve my prospects on the court tomorrow. Not. It's strange to think that we have a shot at winning, though. Never imagined we'd get this far, and when I joined the basketball team, I always thought it'd be a bit of fun. I know that's how my dad always saw it. He told me I was wasting my time with basketball, that I'd never be able to compare with the pros. He told me I didn't have the build for it. As much as I dislike Noah's dad, he might have a point there. For a basketball player, Noah is a bit of a shrimp. I'd like to prove my father wrong, though. I want to show him that we can really win this. I know he'll never care about sports, but I'd like it if he could at least recognize my efforts. I don't know if that'll ever happen though. Even if we do take home the trophy, he didn't see me off when I left earlier. He didn't? No. I don't think he even remembered that a competition was coming up, though I told him enough times. He couldn't make his lack of interest more apparent. It's pretty depressing. Your old man sounds depressing in general. Imagine telling you that you're too short to play basketball. He's obviously never seen you on the court. You know he's never seen me on the court. He's not come to a single one of my games. Well, I'm sorry for being thoughtless. It's alright. You haven't done anything wrong. I know you've always supported me. When it comes down to my father, however, Noah's face clouds over. Then he sighs. Hey, Ikage, I'm sure I've told you this before, but this will probably be my last game. Well, I figured we'll be graduating soon, so... No, I didn't mean it like that. It won't be just my last game with Kaibara. It'll be my last game in general. I don't think my dad will let me keep playing after this. It was hard enough to convince him to let me play basketball in high school, but at university? Forget about it. He'll want me to focus solely on my studies. Everything else will be an unnecessary distraction. That's why I want to make this count. I want to win. No, I have to win. I don't want to end my basketball career, if you want to call it that. Here, Noah smiles, aware perhaps of how lofty that career sounds, where we've not made a single penny from playing basketball. It's just something we've been doing for fun. With a failure, that would be too depressing. I'd like this to be a memory I can look back at fondly, not something that will fill me with, I don't know, shame. Shame, huh? That's pretty harsh. I wonder. You wouldn't really feel ashamed, would you, if we lost? I might. You should know what my father's like. He's never been one to tolerate failure in any capacity, not in school or in sports. I thought your father didn't care about sports, though. He doesn't. He still wants me to win, though. That's the way he is. What about you? Is that how you are? It's how I've been brought up. My father drummed it into me ever since I was a kid. I need to succeed. Otherwise, my efforts won't mean anything. Hard work doesn't have any meaning unless it yields results. Otherwise, there's no point. Now, I don't know if I agree with that. I want to win too, of course, but that's not the only reason why I've been playing basketball. I'm more laid back about all of this than Noah is, and I think having fun's way more important than getting one over the other team. Obviously, it's nice if you can win, but it isn't the end of the world. That's what I've always thought. But my world's less restrictive than Noah's. Maybe I can afford to think that because I don't have my own parents breathing down on my neck, constantly telling me to better myself. Alright then. If you're that serious about this, I guess I'll do my best too. Huh? Why are you saying that like it's some sort of revelation? Weren't you gonna do your best anyway? Yeah, of course, but I was going to give it 100% or so. Now I'm gonna give it 120%. That isn't mathematically possible. It is mathematically possible. Like heck, you can go above and beyond the limit of things. Even scientifically, I'm pretty sure that's possible. It's not safe, but possible. Thank you. I appreciate it. I know it might seem silly, getting so worked up about high school basketball game, but I really do want us to do our best. I want to show my father what I can achieve. And I don't want to let anybody down. And by that you mean... Talk about our underclassmen who've been training so hard, and Coach Inoue, who's always had faith in us. But I'm also thinking about you too. Me? Yeah, you. I mean, I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you. You're the one who pushed me into joining basketball in the first place. I don't want your faith in me to be misplaced. And I don't want to disappoint you. Noah's being a little melodramatic about it. He has a tendency to do that, but he isn't wrong, I guess, with this assessment. He really shouldn't be here if it... He really wouldn't be here if it wasn't for me. It was a chance encounter between us, really, which sparked Noah's love for basketball, and it ignited our friendship too. Noah Simmons is only half Japanese, as his family name might suggest. His father's English, while his mother's Japanese. Noah's name sets him apart from the rest of the kids at school from day one. That and his looks. It doesn't help that his father is obscenely wealthy either. I'm still not sure what it is exactly that his father does, but I think he's some big shot upper manager for a banking company. Apparently he spends a lot of time away in Tokyo on business, leaving Noah and his mother on their own. Noah always stood out for as long as I can remember, so the kids at school used to avoid him. They didn't exactly bully him. He was never called names or tripped in the hallways, but maybe that's because our classmates were too intimidated by him to go that far. Instead, they ignored him. I've known Noah since I was a little brat. We both went to the same elementary school, and for the longest time, I used to steer clear of him myself. I've heard some stories that his father was a scary guy, and I didn't want to get involved. Maybe in my childish naivety, I thought he was a member of the Yakuza. I'm not sure. I didn't think that Noah himself looked scary, though, despite all the rumors I'd hear about his dad. I thought he looked sad. Couldn't help but be curious about Noah, who was delivered to and from school in this big, fancy car, and used to eat lunch on his own. I felt kind of bad for him for having so few friends, but I never tried to speak to him until one particular day. I used to play basketball on the playground with some guys in my year during lunchtime. We'd charge around, making a lot of noise, and fumble the ball bad enough that we'd hurt our hands. We made subpar plays that would make even a seasoned pro cry, but we always crowed about it when we were able to make a basket. I was one more rambunctious, though I suppose my teacher would say troublesome kid, so I wound up getting into scrapes. I bruised my knees on more than a couple of occasions. Once I fell so hard, I cracked my head on the ground and I gave myself a nosebleed. My teacher was so worried. She called up an ambulance and I had to go to the hospital. My mother took time off of work so she would accompany me, and she was as white as a sheet the whole time while we were waiting for a doctor to see me. In the end, after a cursory checkup, the doctor said there was nothing wrong with me, and I'd be fine if I had a day's rest or so. My class still banded together to make me a get well soon card, though. A card that one of the girls in my year, I think her name was Ringo, delivered to my house after school the next day. I like Ringo quite a bit. Thought she was pretty. So did the other boys. She was the class's idol. I remember I liked being doted upon, both by my mother, who was very concerned, and the rest of my class. I'm getting distracted. I always loved basketball. I liked horsing around with the guys from my year. No amount of cuts and bruises would douse my passion for it. I liked basketball enough that I want to share it with the rest of my classmates too. Which is how I ended up speaking to Noah. One of the guys I usually played with was off school because of some sickness, so we had to scout for another member. We asked a few other guys, but they all refused. This would have been a couple of weeks after my trip to A&E, and I guess they were worried, justifiably so, that they might be next. The memory of me lying, slumped on the playground, oozing blood from both my nostrils, must have spooked more than a few of my classmates. I can understand their anxiety now, but at the same time, I was less sympathetic. I called them sissies. Eventually, I wound up asking Noah if he wanted to join us, since he was one of the few people I hadn't thought to hit up. I didn't seriously believe that Noah, the quiet, unsmiling, goody-goody teacher's pet, would want to take part in a game as physical as basketball. But I was wrong. Noah might have been quiet, but that was only because nobody had bothered to speak to him. In actuality, he'd been wanting to play with the rest of his boys for a long time now. He just didn't know how to approach us. It was just too awkward. Noah's face, which I always thought was incapable of showing any emotion, he hadn't even grimaced when I cracked my head on the ground a fortnight ago, shifted in that moment. He set down the book which he'd been reading and his eyes lit up. His lips, meanwhile, curved into an undeniable smile. That was the first time I'd ever seen Noah Simmons smile in all the years I know him, but it was by no means the last. Noah agreed to make up the numbers on my team, and the rest, as they say, is history. Noah proved to be better at basketball than I'd ever imagined, so much so that with his help, we wound up stomping the enemy's team to the curb. We scored 8 baskets, as all told in that unofficial match conducted on our school's field, 4 of them being scored by Noah. I had no idea he was so good, and neither, I think, did Noah. He looked about as shocked by his success as I was. After that match, I officially decided that Noah Simmons was pretty cool, actually. He was definitely worth hanging out with. We started hanging out more. Noah even dismissed the chauffeur so he could walk home from school together. And no time at all, we became best friends. I wound up attending the same school as Noah, and it was there that I convinced him to join the school's basketball team with me. Noah was worried that his father wouldn't improve, but he was able to talk him around. We were on the basketball team in middle school together, and in high school too. We played against high schools all across the regions, and we've won a fair few of our own matches, enough to ensure us a place in the inter-high championships. We've come a long way since those early days, but we were a couple of scrappy young boys, dribbling a ball about for fun. A whole decade has passed since then. I'm just about as close as Noah as I've always been. In fact, I think I might be even closer to him now than ever before. Maybe that's why his words have touched me so much. It might sound corny, but I think I can feel my heart fluttering. Huh? Now that's a pretty interesting reaction on my part. I need to dial things down a notch, otherwise I'm going to end up blushing, and that will be all kinds of awkward. It's better to pretend that I'm not as touched by Noah's words as I am. That's what I've been doing for a while, actually, but now with Noah pretending, I mean. Never thought of myself as much of an actor. I've always been a devotee of the sports, not dramatics, but maybe I'm not too bad at it. Noah hasn't caught on that something's amiss yet. And with luck, he never will. Now that's pretty corny. That's what I say after a pause, in response to Noah's earlier remark, nudging him in the side with my elbow as I speak. Are you really worried about letting me down? Not as much as I'm worried about disappointing my father. Well, I hope so. Based on what you said, the guy's terrifying. I don't want to drag the team down, though. I think about fumbling the ball, I know. It's a little scary, I guess. I get that, but I'm sure it'll be fine. You shouldn't worry so much. We've all practiced hard, like I said. We've put too much effort into this for things to end up so badly. You really think so? I'm positive. We'll do great out there. We'll kick butt out there. Huh. Well, thanks for the vote of confidence. You better not literally kick my butt out there, though. This isn't football. You should keep your feet to yourself. I don't want you being sent off the court. We need you to score baskets. You need me, eh? I grinned and give Noah another nudge. I could get used to you saying that. I mean, I meant basketball, silly. And only basketball. Don't get a swollen head. Don't worry. I won't. There's no risk of that. But when you're always here to cut me down to size. I really do think you should line up, though. Try relax. You'll not be able to get any sleep if you don't. And then you'll really be off your game. If you want to play to the best of your ability, some shut-eye is essential. Wow, you sound almost reliable when you say that. That's because I am. I'm plenty reliable. We've been friends long enough, Noah. That you should know. I've always had your back. Yeah, I know. You've been a really good friend to me, Mikage. Thank you. Jeez. Things are getting all sappy again. If Noah looked at me like that, his eyes upturned like a goddamn puppy, my heart's going to melt. Ugh. I think I really am blushing now. Let's try and change the topic. Well, don't mention it. Anyway. I know your father's always been hard on you, but I don't think his opinion matters all that much. I mean, he doesn't even like basketball. Does that sound like a guy who deserves my respect? He certainly thinks he does, but maybe not. Definitely not. Maybe if we pulled his head out of his butt, he'd be worth listening to. As it stands, however, I think we can safely disregard what he thinks. Winning and losing really isn't the end-all be-all. I know this match is important to you, but no matter what happens, I'll always have your back. Mikage. Noah blinks. Do you mean that? Duh. You're my friend, and I care about you. Well, I can't imagine you fumbling the ball. When you're always so focused during practice. If that did happen, I wouldn't think any less of you for it. You mean more to me than how many points you score. I mean, geez, you're my BFF. You're special to me. That isn't gonna change anytime soon. Besides, for all your worrying that you might screw up, I think I'm way more likely to make mistakes. I'm nowhere near as coordinated as you are. Yeah, but you're a lot taller than I am. And yet, despite you being something of a shorty. Hey! I resent that! You still score more than me, on average. If that isn't impressive, I don't know what is. I don't think I'm anything that special, really. I just put it into practice. I don't know if I have much in the way of natural talent. Yeah, well, right back at you. I don't think I have much in the way of natural talent either. I mean, what even is natural talent? At the end of the day, we've all just got to put into work, no matter how tall we are, if we want to see any results. I think you've been working harder than I have, though. Noah always works harder than I do in every aspect of his life, from his academics to his appearances to his athletics. I think it's pretty admirable, really, how much work he puts in. But part of me does wonder if he tries a bit too hard. He has been looking pretty tired lately. He was staying late at the gym, getting a bit of extra practice in. There's no way he'll mess up, not after all that. I can't know that for sure. It's easier to score goals in practice runs when I don't have the hopes of the whole team resting on my shoulders. Huh, how dramatic. You're talking like a soldier who's about to go off to war. I think that's pretty cool. Is it now? Noah's eyes. I would have called it neurotic, personally. Yeah, well, never have anything nice to say about yourself. Like my father. I can't remember the last time he complimented me. Then I'll have to compliment you a whole bunch instead. For a short guy, you're plenty cool. I wish you'd stop bringing my height into this. I'm not that short, you know. I'm actually above average for a man. For a Japanese guy, maybe. But you only have Japanese, aren't you? Shouldn't you be a teensy bit taller? That will be down to my mother. She's tiny. It's not my fault. I inherited her genes. Ha! So you admit that you're a shorty, do you? I'm admitting to no such thing! Don't know why you always have to tease me about my height. So unfair. Would you say it's a low blow? Yes, Hey, wait! That was uncalled for, Mikage! Sorry. I'm just trying to lighten the mood. Lighten the mood, my butt? You're just being a bully! Not a bully. Said you were cool. Then you proceeded to call me short. Because you are short. Doesn't that make your performance even more impressive, though? You've got a lot stacked against you, but you keep right on going. It's like a boys' manga material in the making. I doubt that. I think I'm too ordinary to be the protagonist of any story. Noah, please. Your dad's a wealthy businessman and used to get chauffeured to and from school before he started walking with me. If that's ordinary, I'll eat my hat. You're not wearing a hat. Then I'll eat the stupid baseball cap Kurikuda's always wearing. You know he loves that hat. I think it was a birthday present from his brother. He'll cry if you eat it. And it's good I won't have to, isn't it? Because you're definitely not ordinary. I don't think I'm anything special, though. You are to me. I think you're incredibly cool. You're just saying that. I mean, I think you're much cooler. No, you are. No, you. Oh yeah? You want to fight me about it? Do you want to fight about it? I wouldn't mind. I don't mind beating you up if it'll make you accept how cool you really are. You wouldn't really beat me up. You're bluffing. Want to bet? I grinned and descend on Noah, my arms raised and my fingers flexed. Take this! What? Hey, Mikage! No, if you do that, Noah yelps as my finger falls upon him. I've known Noah long enough that I know all of his weak points. It's pretty easy for me to coax a reaction out of him. It doesn't take long at all before Noah's doubled up laughing, trying all the while to push me away from him. Cut it out, Mikage! That's not fair! What's not fair, huh? This! Tickling me is an underhanded tactic! And anyway... Noah glances to the sliding door, his face flushed. We're gonna wake up the others if you don't stop. I don't think Church Inoue will be happy if you disrupt everybody. Not before the big match. Well, he does raise a good point. I really should have thought this myself. Yeah, alright. I'll call it quits for now. But didn't this help? Look a little happier than you were before. Huh! Noah harums as I step away from him, all while adjusting the hem of his shirt. It doesn't really count. Why not? You were laughing like anything. It was not a duress. You tickled me. And you left yourself wide open. So you're blaming me now, huh? Duh. If somebody manages to get the ball off you during the game, it'd be your miss, not their fault, right? It depends on how much force they're using and how they got the ball. You're not allowed to tickle your opponents into submission, you know. I know. It's a shame, though. I think I'd be the best on court if they allowed it. That's only because you're so shameless. And yet you're still my best friend. Sometimes I wonder why. Oh wow, that's harsh. You wound me. You wounded me worse with all that tickling. I can't breathe. He had plenty of air to complain though. Ugh, you're so annoying sometimes. Oh yeah? Yeah. Well, it takes one to know one. You. Noah looks at me for a few moments. His expression is one of disbelief. For a while, it looks like he's not sure whether to scowl, to scold me, or to storm off in a huff. In the end, however, no one does none of those things. His expression wavers. His shoulders begin to shake, and not a second later, he snorts. He's laughing, and it's a real laugh too, unlike the laughter I forced from him earlier. He's pretty cute like this. Not that I just thought that. Mikage. You're impossible, you know? I've heard it said, yeah. Now, how about you? You feel any better? A bit, I guess. I was pretty anxious, but, well, thanks for hanging out with me and for talking things through with me, too. That's alright. What are friends for? You say that, but I was being a bit of a downer. I can't have been much fun to hang around with. I'm so... what the heck? No one begins, but I cut him off. I lean in, my hands outstretched. This time, however, I don't make a beeline for Noah's underarms. Instead, my fingers find both corners of his mouth. Then I pull him upwards into a smile. It's no problem, really. Now stop being so mopey. The wind will change and your face will wind up stuck like that, which will be a real shame. The girls at our school like you too much for you to ruin our good looks. Noah attempts to frown through my fingers, but it's not very convincing. I don't know why they like me so much. Yeah, I think I have an idea. I mean, what's not to like? You're smart, your family's rich, you're great at basketball. That's debatable. It is not. You might be a shorty, but you're great on the court. And you're really a nice guy to boot. You're incredible. Not so sure about that. I am. I've seen you make some pretty damn impressive shots. You've helped us win lots of games in the past, so try to have more faith in yourself. I'm sure everything will be fine. I mean every word I say too, as I stand on the balcony with Noah, my finger still hooked into either side of his mouth. I may not be able to see the future, but I'm quietly confident about our future success. We'll win. We have to win. I'm sure of it. 10 years late. 10 years later? What kind of time skip is this? Ugh, this sucks. I'm lying in my bed, which is actually pretty comfortable as far as hotel beds go, but still can't relax. I've been tossing and turning for an hour now to little avail. Sleep refuses to come. I knew tomorrow would be hard for me, but this doesn't bode well. I'm starting to wonder whether I'll actually be able to make it through the ceremony. What if I nod off in the middle of the vows? That'll be pretty rude, especially since I'm supposed to have a sizable role in the day's going-ons. Pasiao might be better though than bursting into tears. Which action will be more unforgivable? I've been turning this over in my head for a while, but I'm no closer to finding an answer. There isn't an answer. I guess both will be pretty awful for two different reasons. I need to keep it together as best as I can, but I'm afraid they'll prove to be a challenge. I feel terrible. I turn over yet again, trying to make myself comfy, but I already know that it's a pointless gesture. I don't think I'll ever be able to sleep. Not like this. Now, feeling pretty thoroughly fed up, I kick my sheets off and sit up. The lights are off and the curtains are drawn. I can't see much of anything other than vague shapes. Over there, a desk, and over there, a wardrobe. This isn't a cheap hotel, but it's not a fancy top-of-the-range one either. I wouldn't have enough money to stay in a place like that. It's a nice enough hotel, I guess. It has all the amenities one would expect. The sheets are spotlessly clean. There is something a bit impersonal about this room, though. Its furnishings are all inoffensive in a very deliberate. Its furnishings are all inoffensive in a very deliberate, careful way. Not, I guess, that this is a fair judgment to make. It is a hotel room, after all. It has to cater to all sorts of guests. I'm just one person of many. Nothing special in the grand scheme of things. This room isn't really mine. Hundreds, no, thousands of bodies have stayed here before. I wonder if these thousands of guests from years past spent sleepless nights similar to my own, tossing and turning to little avail. There's something a little eerie about that thought. I expel another breath into the sterile air and look around. The hotel is pretty different to the one I stayed back in the day, when Noah and I were still in high school. That hotel, was more of a hostel really, was traditionally Japanese with a tatami floor and sliding doors. This one, meanwhile, is decidedly Western. I actually have my own room and a double bed, which is kinda nice. I appreciate not having to share with a bunch of sweaty teenage boys though. Since I'm no longer a teenager myself, that'd be a pretty weird arrangement. Huh. Now that's a funny thing to think about. Not a teenager anymore. Neither is Noah. The night we shared together on the balcony all those years ago feels very faint and far away now. I told Noah that he should have more faith in himself. I distinctly remember that. He couldn't sleep, and he was feeling down, so I cheered him up. It will cheer me up though, when I'm feeling down. I used to think that Noah would always be there for me, but I guess I was wrong. I expected too much from him. Maybe I was being unfair. We were only ever friends, after all. I'm such an idiot. The hotel room is dark. While it isn't particularly small, it feels uncomfortably claustrophobic, like the walls are closing in around me. I need to get out of here. Eve? Ah! I force myself to stand, though it takes an alarming amount of effort. My neck is aching, so is my back. It's possible, I guess, I was lying down at them funny. It's just as possible that there are nothing more than symptoms of old age. Isn't it a bit too early, though, to start suffering from phantom pains? I'm not even in my 30s yet. I should have a bit of time to go before I start feeling this run down. Must be imagining things. I've been under a lot of pressure lately. I've had no shortage of work to do. Trying to convince my boss to get a few days off was hell. But then I've had all of my myriad worries about Noah to contend with. This couple of my mother's nagging that I should find a nice woman to settle down with. You're almost 30, Mikage. You're not getting any younger. Has given me a lot of food for thought. Man, I feel like garbage. I could use a smoke. That always tends to not cheer me up exactly, but calms me down. Takes my mind off things. Yeah, I think I'll do that. This hotel has a pretty strict no smoking policy indoors, so I guess I'll have to head outside if I want to smoke on the sly. I retrieve my cigarettes from my jeans, which are crumpled on the floor, and stash them into the pocket of my pajama pants. Then I head outdoors. The lights are still on in the hallway, for the sake, presumably, of any insomniacs like myself. I can't hear any noise behind all those closed doors. I guess everybody else is asleep. I wonder if anybody else come here for the wedding. It's like me. I know us old university friends sleeping in other rooms. They're about the guys from my high school basketball team, Kunikita and Aoki, and what were the rest of them called again? Can't remember. It's been too long. I walk briskly down the hallway and enter the reception area. The lights are still on here too, though the receptionist's desk is empty. Wonder if the receptionist is on night duty, has gone off elsewhere. Snatch a nap maybe in the employee lounge. There's no way for me to know, and I don't suppose it's any of my business. I head out of the hotel's lobby, through the automatic doors, which slide open with a hiss when I approach. I head out into the car park, away from the lights and the relative warmth of the foyer, then flinch. There's quite a breeze and it's unforgivingly cold. Maybe coming outside was a bad idea after all. Can't believe it's only September. Summer was a hot one, but August feels like it happened a long time ago. It might as well be December. No, January or February. Heck, I might as well be in the Arctic. My fingers are shaking. I reach into my pocket, attempting to fish out my carton of cigarettes from my pocket, but something makes me pause. I was so preoccupied with how cold it is, and how dark and how badly I want to smoke, I failed to notice something pretty pivotal. Now that my eyes have snagged upon this sight, however, I can't bring myself to look away. I'm not the only person here. Oh, Noah! There's a man standing beneath the yolk orange lights of an old street lamp. A man slenderer than me, and shorter, with slumping shoulders and half-lidded eyes. He isn't at all bad-looking. There's something delicate about his features. His nose small and snub, his lips pursed. His eyes are underscored with some pretty severe bruises. His skin, meanwhile, is deathly pale. It looks like he hasn't slept in a month. I might feel wretched, but he practically embodies the word. His hair is rumpled, and his right hand, which is holding a cigarette of his own, is trembling. It's cold outside, yeah, but I don't know if his tremors can be blamed on the inclement weather alone. He really does look awful. His appearance wouldn't bother me so much, I guess, if he was a stranger, but he isn't. He's the reason, in fact, that I'm in this hotel in the first place. Noah? Ah! My childhood friend, Noah Simmons, lifts his head, then his eyes meet mine. I thought he looked tired from a distance, but now he's only a few paces away from me. I can see my early assessment wasn't exactly accurate. He doesn't just look tired, he looks exhausted. What happened to him? Oh, it's just you, Mikage. Am I worrying over nothing? What are you doing here? I could ask you the same question. Or at least I would, but I think I have an idea. I nod my head towards a cigarette that's pinched between Noah's fingers. I didn't know you smoked. Not, I guess, that it's saying much. There's a lot about Noah that I don't know. We've not spoken, not properly at least, in years. Oh, this? Noah looks at his cigarette distractedly, as though he's only just noticed it. It's a bad habit, I know. I didn't mean to pick it up, but so many guys in the office did. I guess I just... Well, I figured they were all doing it, and I should too. They didn't pressure you into it, did they? Nah. It was a decision I made for myself. At least, I think it was. I've been doing it for a while now. Not sure. I don't remember. A fine while. I don't know. A couple of years maybe? Why? What's it to you? There's no reason, really. I was just curious. Doesn't seem like you. Why does it seem like me when I ask? No, it's just... I'm very refined, I guess. Am I refined? More than I am. I thought you were more sensible than I am, too. Did you used to care about your health? Maybe. I don't know if it matters all that much. Not when so many other people are doing it. I didn't think you were the type to just do things because other people were doing them. Then you can't know me as well as you thought. Noah. I hang back, feeling unusually hesitant as Noah raises his cigarette again. He draws it between his lips, eyelids falling shut. Then he inhales. He's taking a drag. That's all he can think of, the only object that's anchoring him to the earth. The way he's smoking doesn't smack of somebody who dabbles on occasion. He looks like a genuine addict. I should know. He's acting the same way I do when I smoke. You don't approve, do you? Noah addresses me suddenly, after drawing the cigarette from his mouth. So suddenly it makes me jump. Well, how am I meant to reply to that? Maybe I'm being paranoid, but that sounded an awful lot like an accusation. I feel like I'd be a bad friend if I gave you my wholehearted approval. Smoking's pretty bad for you. I don't want you giving yourself emphysema? I thought you might say something like that. You've always been such a fusspot. I couldn't help but worry for the people I care about. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I guess you're right. There isn't anything wrong with it. At least you seem to actually care about me. Unlike Miss Miyabi. I mean, Haruna. Doesn't she like smokers? She can't stand them. She says smoking is a filthy habit. She told me to stop a couple months ago. Told her I would. But despite that, as you can see, I wasn't able to keep my word. Yeah, I've become a pretty rotten adult, huh? It isn't nice to keep things from your fiancé. No, I don't think it bodes well for your marriage. I don't think it bodes well that he just referred to her by her family name instead of like her first name. Okay, I'm picking up two things from this. Like either A, he really doesn't want to go through the marriage, which seems like where this is going. Or B, like yeah, it's kind of like an respectable thing to do. I'm not entirely sure. I don't want to tell you what you can and can't do. That'd be a first. But you're going to get married to the woman tomorrow. Don't you think you should come clean? I could, I guess. But I don't think it'd do much good. You said she'd disapprove? She disapproves of most of the things I do. Smoke is just the tip of the iceberg. Noah's voice takes on a dolorous edge. His eyes focus on the sky above us. I'm not a particularly sentimental person, but if I had to describe the night sky, the only adjective that springs to mind would be lonely. It's an overcast night, stars hidden by clouds. I wonder if that's an ill omen. I hope it doesn't rain during the wedding tomorrow. Another vicious part of me hope it does. It will be a small inconvenience, really. It's not like it stopped the ceremony, but still. I don't think the sky should be clear when I feel so awful about this. Is that selfish of me? Maybe it's a bit immature. Aren't I supposed to be an adult? I should grow up. So, Noah. Huh? What is it? Don't mean to pry. If you'd rather not talk, I understand, but... something wrong. Noah doesn't reply. Not instantly, at least. A few moments of silence pass between us as Noah lets his cigarette burn down. I worry, as the moments pass, the cold breeze slicing through the fabric of my shirt, that Noah might not speak at all. Maybe he really doesn't want to talk to me, but... yeah, you could say that, I guess. No. Relief bubbles up inside me, not because Noah's confirmed more or less that something really is the matter. Really worry about it, that actually, but because he's actually speaking to me. I've gotten him to open up. Maybe I'll be able to figure out why he looks so sad. Well, here's to hoping. Well, what's bothering you? Is it the wedding nerves? I guess. Well, it's fair. Weddings are pretty big events, or so I've heard. A whole lot of planning must have gone into it. Instead, if you're nervous about screwing up, I mean, you only get married once. Or, awkwardly, I run a hand through my hair. Most people do, I guess. But I remember seeing something on the news a couple months back about how divorce rates are going through the roof all across the world. Divorce wasn't very common 50 years ago. It's become pretty widespread. Probably because people have, like, the opportunity to actually do it now. Like, people have the freedom to do so. Like, they don't need to be stuck in a marriage they're not happy with. I'm not sure why. It's not like I've done any research into the topic. Maybe the lessened social stigma around it has given people the courage to break off unhealthy relationships which aren't working. Exactly. Or something. Whatever the case, I think I'll keep these stats to myself. Talking about divorce the night before my best friend's wedding can't be in good taste. Anyway, I understand why you might be feeling anxious. I bet you'd probably be freaky out too if I was in your shoes too. Though I don't know how comforting that is. I'm pretty bad at this whole reassuring people thing, huh? I'm out of practice. I've not done it in a while, so I'm sorry if I'm saying all the wrong things. I don't know if this is helping too much, but... what I mean to say is, I think it's normal to feel anxious. You do? Yeah, it's like performance anxiety. We all get afraid before the most important events of our life, no matter how exciting they might be. You got pretty anxious too before the finals of the Winter Cup. But when we actually got into the court, we all had a blast, didn't we? We lost, though. Oh no, wait, they lost! Well, yeah, we lost, but we still gave it our all. It's not like we made any major misplays. Things didn't go too badly, is all I'm saying. I'm sure your wedding will be the same. A little pep talk might not be as reassuring as I'd hope. I mean, Noah's right. We did lose the Winter Cup. Perhaps I shouldn't compare his wedding to that. Not when Noah ended up in tears. Yeah, this really isn't going well. It's not too late to try and pivot, is it? Well, what I mean to say is, it's not like your wedding's a competitive event. It isn't something you can lose, so that's not something you should be fussing about. All you have to worry about is you and your wife. And the priests, and my parents, and all the people there. Yeah, well, them too. It's your wedding, Noah. You're always going to be the most important. You and your wife. It's your big day, so you shouldn't worry too much about what other people might think. All that could go wrong, I guess, is fumbling your vows, but even if that does happen, nobody will laugh at you. They'll all understand. I mean, weddings are supposed to be emotional. In the end, I'm sure everything will be alright. You've got nothing to worry about. Mikage. Noah glances at me, his expression inscrutable. Half his face is illuminated in the garish orange street lamps, while the other is obscured with the shadows. I'm struck once again as I look at Noah at how very small he looks. He's always been smaller than me, skinnier too, but has he lost weight during the last few years? It looks like he's wasting away. Do you really think that? Yeah, you've got this in the bag. You've just gotta have a bit more faith in yourself. I take a step towards Noah. Is it just my imagination, or does he shrink away from me? And slap him on the back. I'm trying to big him up, in hopes this will dispel the frown that's etched itself onto his face. But my own smile feels uncomfortably forced. It's easy to say things to try to cheer people up, but reality doesn't always conform to what we want. I know that pretty well, after the finals of the Winter Cup turned out. I really sincerely thought that Noah and I would emerge the victors. I told myself we'd worked too hard for our best efforts to go to waste. I was wrong. We still lost. Who's to say that Noah's wedding and his subsequent marriage won't go the same way? I don't know what the future holds. I don't even know what the present holds. I mean, hell, I hardly know Noah's wife-to-be. Barely exchanged more than 5 words to her. It feels like I barely know Noah too, despite my clumsy attempts to recapture our closeness from over a decade ago. Who am I to console him? Who am I to Noah? I feel like a nobody. This all feels so fake. By the way, I take a step back from Noah, and though it might be a trick of the light, I swear I can see him relaxing. Something just occurred to me. What sort of something? You never did tell me how you and your wife met. Future wife, you mean? I beg your pardon? You said wife, but she's not my wife yet. Nothing's been officiated. Well, yeah, you're not wrong, but I figure I might as well call her your wife since you're gonna be married tomorrow and all. It's basically a shoo-in at this point. Alright, I'm sorry. How'd you meet your future wife then? I'm curious. Are you sure I never told you? If you had, I would have remembered. I'm your best friend, silly. Or at least I was. You've been really cagey about Miss Miyabi for months. Hell, I didn't even know you were engaged until you asked me to be your best man. It was all pretty freaking sudden. Well, I suppose it slipped my mind. It slipped your mind that you have a fiancé? No, not that. That isn't what I meant. I've been so busy lately, that's all. With work, I didn't have the time to tell you about Miss Miyabi. Haruna, I mean. Engagement was rather sudden too. I'd not known her for very long before it all came about. I didn't have much of a chance to clue you in. It's not like I was trying to hide her from you. It's just, I don't know. It's been a lot to deal with. I can't say I like the way Noah's talking about his wife-to-be, as though she's something to be dealt with. Doesn't that make her sound like a burden? I was shocked when Noah asked me out of the blue if I'd be his best man at his upcoming wedding. All the more because I hadn't known he was seeing anybody, much less that he had a fiancé, but I figured I couldn't endure it if he was happy. He doesn't look happy right now though. I guess I can understand the whole being busy thing. I have a lot of work to do myself. My boss doesn't really let up, and things have been pretty hectic. I thought you would at least mention Miss Miyabi though. seemed a bit strange, especially since she's such a beauty. I figured any guy will be thrilled about landing a woman like her. I deserve to boast about her just a little more. I'm sure most guys would. From what I've heard, she's very accomplished. No one doesn't reply to that. Instead, he brings his cigarette back to his lips, then takes another drag. I wonder if I should take that as a sign to shut up. It's not like he told me to stop. It's almost like he's inviting me, tacitly, to keep on going. I don't want to pry, but all this silence has got me curious. I mean, heck, you're my best friend. I'm about to be a freaking best man, for goodness sake. Until we drifted apart for a bit, I do want to be part of your life. I want to know more about you, and I want to know more about Miss Miyabi, too. How did things go down between you? You really want to know? Of course. How am I gonna know if she's a good match for you, huh? If you won't tell me anything about her. I'd like to give you my blessing without any reservations, but I can't do that if you don't open up to me. Noah looks down at the floor, the cigarette still pinched between his fingers. His expression is a troubled one, so much so that I have to wonder whether I've gone too far. He winces. Then he says, While I was keeping things from you on purpose, it's more that I didn't want to talk about it. Telling you about Miss Miyabi, Haruna. That would make things feel too real. I guess I was trying to run away. I'm supposed to get married to her tomorrow. I can't keep running away indefinitely. It's hard though. Now things have gotten this far. I feel I have to go through with this, but... Noah's voice trails off. He squeezes his eyelids shut. Then, in a shaky sort of voice, he says, You said that everything will be alright, didn't you? So long as we love one another? Yes, yeah. Well, that's a very sweet sentiment, but when it comes to our relationship, there isn't any left to speak of. Huh? I stare at Noah, struggling to wrap my mind around this new piece of information. What do you mean you don't love her? Why did you propose to her then? I didn't. Not by choice. I didn't even meet her by choice. This was all orchestrated by my father. God damn it, Noah's dad is such an ass. And a father too, from what I've gathered. Then, does that mean your relationship is an arranged marriage? Noah replies in a clipped, anticlimactic manner. I think that's what you call it. Yeah. There certainly aren't any fond feelings on either of our sides. It was nothing more than a business merger. They could have just done it legally! Business. My frown deepens. I thought there was something fishy about it, about Noah's relationship with Miss Miyabi. This is even more depressing than I thought. If your father was in on it then. Huh. Didn't you once mention that Miss Miyabi comes from a wealthy family? She does, yeah. My father was eyeing up her father's business for a while. He wanted to merge in two companies, but Mr. Miyabi wasn't very receptive. My father said he was playing hard to get. Noah makes a quotation mark with his free hand as he says this, the other one that isn't holding a cigarette. There was a bit of back and forth, and Mr. Miyabi eventually said he'd be agreeable to the merger if there was more of a connection between our families. You mean he wanted you to marry his daughter? That's right. Miss Miyabi is a few years older than we are, but she'd not found Mr. Right just yet. Apparently, she's so picky that no man's ever been good enough for her. Her father was beginning to worry about her. That's what fathers are supposed to be like, so I heard. And since he knew my father had a son of his own... Noah shrugs. I guess he figured out it'd be a good arrangement. Mr. Miyabi wouldn't have to worry about his daughter's future. I guess he thought there'd be enough of a connection between our two companies that he wouldn't need to fuss about my father trying to screw him over. It was a very neat, tidy solution to both of their problems. My father was very pleased about it. But you weren't. Not particularly. I can't say I appreciated being promised to a perfect stranger like a parcel, you know? Never met Haruna before. It was decided we'd get married. I know you're wondering why I'd not told you about our wedding sooner, but I didn't really have a choice. It was sudden for me too. I was given the time to refuse. We're supposed to be getting married tomorrow, but I hardly know her. I feel bad for her too, of course. I'd be lying if I said I liked her very much. I thought you'd not spend much time with her though. She might not be as bad as all that. I don't want to throw stones in glass houses. I know I've not been particularly sociable around her either. It's hard to whisper sweet nothings to one another when our parents are almost always with us. Our courtship has been awkward from the very beginning. She doesn't need to be quite so cold to me, though. She's pretty, yes, and she knows how to dress herself, but... Noah's voice trails off. He brings his cigarette to his lips yet again and takes another drag of it, longer this time than the last. His pale eyelashes fall shut as he inhales the gauzy cigarette smoke, ingesting it as though it's manna from heaven. He's acting like he can't function without it. It's a bit troubling, but who am I to judge? I'm just as bad. She's not much of a conversationalist, not with me at least. She barely speaks to me, and when she does, she'll talk down to me. I'm almost 6 years younger than she is, so I do understand it, but she doesn't interact with me like an equal. She acts more like a disappointed teacher. Doesn't she ever want to talk to you about your day? Not really. Try to chat with her, but she doesn't seem very interested in reciprocating. I thought at first that maybe she was just being shy, but I've known her for long enough to realize there isn't an ounce of shyness in her. A shy person would never be able to snap at waitstaff the way she does. Well, Noah laughs at this once again, but it's without humor. Maybe there's a silver lining? They're shouting at waiters, you mean? And waitresses. She's reduced more than a couple of them to tears over the last few months. She sounds like a terrible person. Why are you marrying a Karen? Her father said she's just stressed about the wedding, but I don't know. I don't think it's an outrage-worthy offense, really. Being served capers with your onion consomme. Consomme? It said it contained capers on the menu, but Haruna disagreed. She wasn't having any of it. She's never shouted at me like she did to that girl who brought us our soup, but she doesn't treat me much better than that. She tells me how I should dress, how I should speak. She even tells me what I should order when we go to restaurants. She's so particular about everything, from the way I hold my chopsticks to the way I unfold my napkins. I can't even sneeze without her scolding me. She finds fault in everything I do. If I can't please her now, I doubt I'll be able to do that when we're married. Sometimes when she looks at me, I think she might hate me. I thought I was just being silly, but Noah brings his cigarette to his lips yet again. He inhales through that desperation of his, which has become unsettlingly, uncomfortably familiar these last few minutes, his eyes closed and his lips pursed. When he's finished, he exhales even more smoke into the ether, great spools of it which unwinds in the wind like ribbons. Didn't Noah say Miss Miyabi didn't like smokers? That's something I can understand. I don't like smokers very much either, and I smoke myself. I don't see why she'd have an issue with Noah's table manners, though, or with the way he conducts himself. I've not been out to eat with Noah in a long time, but he's always been polite from what I can recall. He certainly never made any waitresses cry. I heard her, on the phone the other day. It only happened a couple of weeks ago. What do you mean? I mean, I was eavesdropping. Not that I meant to. It all happened by chance. We went out to eat at a fancy restaurant, me and her and both of our parents, and Haruna said she had to go to the bathroom. She was in there for such a long time. Started to worry about her. Her father asked if I'd go and check up on her, to see if she'd not had an episode. She's anemic, so she gets lightheaded sometimes, so I did. Went over to the women's bathroom, which was downstairs, away from the hustle and bustle of the restaurant. It was pretty quiet down there. There wasn't anybody else around. The door was closed, but I could still hear Haruna. I could hear everything. Noah grits his teeth together, his expression strained. She was talking on the phone to somebody, one of her friends, I think. She was telling them about me. What? She wasn't being rude about you, was she? Nah, she wasn't being rude. My ego might have been able to recover from a little bit of rudeness. Instead, she eviscerated me. Frick. She said marrying me was the worst decision she'd ever made in her life, not that it had been her decision, mind. She'd not had any say in the matter because her father had arranged it all. She was stuck on that. She said it wasn't fair, that she'd never had any interest in getting married. She told her father multiple times, apparently, that she wanted to call things off. It sounded like she was more proactive about it than I was, but he didn't listen to her. He kept telling her it was for her own good. Huh. Well, these complaints sound familiar. Maybe you and Miss Miyabi have more in common than you thought. That did occur to me, yes, but Haruna didn't stop at insulting her father. She gave me a pretty thorough tongue lashing too. She said I wasn't her type at all. Apparently, I don't have any gumption. She said I'm a wet blanket, and I'm so placid, not even fun to harangue. She'd been hoping to get a rise out of me by being rude and snippy, but I didn't rise to the bait, so I disappointed her. She said I was pitiful. Prick. I stare at Noah, stunned by the intensity of Miss Miyabi's complaints. I don't know if she's wholly incorrect in the assessment of Noah's character. He's always been pretty passive, but to talk about him as though he has no redeeming qualities, that must have hurt. What is she even looking in a guy anyway? It sounds like she only cares about money. Beats me. I would ask, but she doesn't like talking to me, like I said. A phone call is the most I've ever heard Haruna speak before, and all she did was insult me. Well, and her father, and my father too, come to think of it, which was fair enough. I got the worst of her insults, though. It was all pretty harrowing, especially since it was coming from my bride-to-be. I don't think it promises a particularly happy future together. No, duh, that's freaking awful. Sorry I had to hear all that. It's fine. Is it though? Well, it's not fine obviously, but part of me is glad I overheard her. She didn't hold back. I don't need to second guess how she feels about me. She was pretty upfront about it. I guess. I think of something to say to reassure Noah, but the words don't come. This is even worse than I thought. Can't imagine somebody being so awful to Noah, especially not his future wife. What does she have to gain for being so cruel? Well, maybe the better question would be, what does she have to lose by marrying him? If she isn't attracted to him, and it sounds like that based on what Noah's told me, that she's actively repulsed by him, then I doubt she'd be inclined to be so charitable. Calling him pitiful, though. Isn't that taking things a bit too far? Are you sure she said all of that? There's not a chance you could have misunderstood, is there? No, I'm sure. It's not like him as a surprise either. You could already tell. She doesn't like me, and I don't like her. It's enough to make me wonder. What's the point in getting married if we're both going to be unhappy? Nobody will win. Apart from my fathers, I guess, and their businesses. Maybe that's more important than our feelings. No. That's an awfully utilitarian way of looking at things. I know this is easy for me to say, but I think your happiness should be more important than your father's business prospects. I mean, this is your life. You only get one of them. Of course I know that. I've been worrying about it too. So much so I've hardly had any sleep these last few months. I kept meaning to talk to my father about things, but I don't know how. I don't have the words. I already agreed to marry Miss Miyabi. As far as my parents are concerned, it's a done deal. We already arranged the wedding ceremony. We spent a lot of money on it too. The invitations have all been sent. I have family members who've traveled all the way from England to see this. There are all my old friends from university too. That my father's business associates and Haruna's business associates. Over the 300 invitations were delivered. It's gonna be a huge event, and I'm going to be the center of attention. Everybody's expecting me to be there. I cannot show up to my own wedding. Not now that it's so late. I don't have any choice. I have to go through with it. If I don't, my father will never let me live it down. He'll disown me. If I ever have a chance to refuse, it's long since past. There's nothing I can do. This. Noah's voice catches in his throat. Tears begin to bead in his eyes, tears which he doesn't try to wipe away. His cigarette, which was almost burnt down anyways, falls from his fingers. It lands on the ground, which is bathed in shadows and gutters out on its own, its weak orange glow fading away to nothingness. This isn't what I want. I've stood up to my father when I had the chance, but I was too afraid. I didn't want to upset him, so I went along with it. I went along with everything. Now who's left to listen to me? I'm all on my own. More tears drip down Noah's cheeks. He's crying so much his eyes are starting to look red, and so are his cheeks. It's dark outside, but I can still see, the lurid glare of the street lamps that his face has taken on a blotchy reddish tint. It looks like he's fallen face first into a patch of nettles. Noah might have been lauded back in high school as a catch. He was universally popular among the girls, but he doesn't look like a catch right now. His features might be elegant. His aquiline nose and narrowed eyes a little haughty, but he hasn't mastered the art of crying prettily, like characters from TV dramas. His tears are a bit too visceral to be becoming, but that doesn't make me like him any less. If anything, I think it's making me care about him even more. I'm not the one in tears, but my heart is aching. Oh, Noah. I take a step forwards, spurred on by the desire to console him. Oh. Then, without any preamble, I pull Noah to me. Noah gasps at this unexpected closeness, but doesn't try to push me away. Maybe he doesn't have the strength for it. Instead, he leans against me, his head resting against my chest and his fingers fisting helplessly against the front of my hoodie. He continues to sob on and on while I embrace him, wetting my arms around him. Noah's always been skinnier than I am, but his slenderness at the moment is disarming. He's so slight, I'm afraid he might break. He's certainly sobbing hard enough. Hey there. It's alright. I reassure Noah, or at least I try to, very softly, while rubbing his back with my palms. Noah must be a heavy burden to bear. You're not completely on your own. I'm here, and I'll listen to you. I care about you, no matter what happens. You mean that? Of course I do. I'm not going anywhere after all. You were the one who stopped replying to me, remember? That's because I didn't want you to see me like this. I don't want you looking down on me. Hey, do you really think I'd do that when we've known each other for so long? I don't know. I know that I'd look down on me, though. I'm supposed to be an adult now. I'm 28, for God's sake. I still can't stand up to my parents. I'm still afraid of my father. I'm pathetic. You might think that, but I don't. Well, you should. And I still don't. Why not? Why not, huh? I continue to trace circles against Noah's back, my touch light and gentle. Guess it's because you're my friend. But I've been treating you like a friend. I've been awful to you. I've barely spoken to you for years, and when I do, I still ask you to be my best man. I wouldn't be surprised if you hate me. Well, I was a bit put out, I'll admit. I still don't think you're awful. It's clear you've been going through a lot, but that's exactly why I'm gonna stay with you. I'm not about to just let you cry. We can get through this together. I believe in you. Well, at least one of us does. Noah laughs weakly, wetly, as he nuzzles his head against my chest. Still crying. I think his tears have lessened somewhat since I began holding him. This has to be a good sign, isn't it? I mean it too. Every single word. I'll always have faith in you. As we stand there, my arms wound around Noah, I'm struck with how remarkably similar the scenario is to the evening after the Winter Cup. Noah said when we were in the changing rooms that he was fine. He forced a smile for the sake of our team members, who were all understandably gutted after our narrow defeat. Later, in our hotel room that night, when the others were asleep, he started to cry. He cried almost as desperately back then as he is now. It broke my heart. I couldn't let that stand, so I hugged him. 10 years have passed since then. It doesn't feel like it. This could very well be a continuation of an event which already occurred. Feels like the years spanning between us have collapsed, a decade condensed into a blink of an eye. Really, though? Noah draws away from me, still sniffling, his eyes rimmed pink like a rabbit's. He wipes his damp eyes to the back of his arms, then says, How can you tell me that things will be alright when they've progressed this far? If I was a proper man, I would have put my foot down a long time ago. Wouldn't have let my father push me around. That's all I've ever done. I'm such a loser. Noah, you've been through this. You're not pathetic, and you're definitely not a loser. I've never once thought that. Not even when you cried after the Winter Cup. Oh God, don't remind me of that. Can't help it. Sorry. It's burned into my memory. Well, scrub it clean! It's too late. It's a precious memory of mine, and I'm not gonna forget it. Seeing me cry is a precious memory? Well, yeah, it's kind of nice in a way. Have you cling to me like that? Especially since you always try to be Mr. Reliable. Gave me a bit of a kick. You sadist. You know what? What? Seeing you saw might have awoken something inside me. You pervert! Only when it comes to you. Playfully, I poke my tongue out at Noah. For a brief moment, he actually smiles. It's a very, very brief moment, though. One that soon passes. I wish he'd smile more. Seriously, though. Sounds like a pretty awkward situation to be in, and to think. I was jealous of you when I learned that you were going to be hitched to somebody as hot as Miss Miyabi. She's a real stunner. You were jealous? Oh yeah, incredibly so. You didn't mention it. I didn't want to ruin your happiness with my own petty complaints, though now see, there wasn't much happiness to ruin. Not really. You could have been as bitter as you wanted. It wouldn't have made me feel worse. Would it have made you feel better, though? I don't know. It depends on why you were jealous. Why, huh? Well, I guess I figured that you'd gotten it made. I was upset, I guess, that you'd found a wife. Or future wife, rather. I hurried to correct myself after seeing the way Noah tenses, and based on what he's told me about Miss Miyabi, I can't blame him. And I was still single. I'm curious about that, actually. How's your love life going? What love life? It's stone cold dead. Has been for years, unless you want to count the odd fling here or there, which I don't. You're kind of depressing, really. Oh, sorry I asked? It's alright. That's a bunch of intrusive questions about you. It's only fair that you get to ask them about me. I don't mind talk about my tragic attempts at finding a life partner. But that's why I was so jealous, see? It really did seem like you had everything sorted. Yeah, well, I suppose that's what my father wanted it to seem. He's always cared about appearances, hasn't he? Sometimes. I think he cares more about what strangers think about than how I feel. Yeah, I'm not going to address that remark. I think Noah's probably right, based on everything I know about his old man, but now might not be the best time to delve into that. For the record, though, I still think his father's a prick. Well, I guess this will be a good lesson to me then. I shouldn't be too quick to assume everything's fine. I feel like a bit of, I feel awful now, actually. For being jealous of me? I nod, and Noah smiles at me, albeit faintly. It's alright. You weren't to know. I didn't really tell you about this, so you had no way of figuring out how I actually felt. Yeah, but you're my best friend. I should have sussed it out sooner. What? That I'm a wreck? Well, are you a wreck? I'd say so, yeah. You might be single, but I think you still have a better grasp on life than I do. I mean, Noah sighs. I've always done exactly what my father asked me, no matter what it was. I quit basketball for his sake, even though I loved it. I went to that fancy university too, though I would rather have studied with you. He would? That's news to me. Now, I'm gonna marry a woman who hates me. Life's not exactly a bed of roses. This isn't La Dolce Vita. Noah. My brow furrows in sympathy for him. I can't help it. Seeing him like this. It's pretty painful. I know that things are pretty rough right now, but you're forgetting something important. Which is? It isn't too late. You haven't married Miss Miyabi. Not yet. But the wedding's tomorrow. It's less than 12 hours away. Might as well have been married already. But you aren't. That's the key distinction. Now, look. You can still call this off. This might be what your father wants, but he isn't living your life for you. At the end of the day, you're the master of your own destiny. He'll be angry, though. That's why I went along with this farce. I'm afraid if I go back on this, my father will disown me. Has he said that he would? Not in so many words, but it's always been hanging over me. I know I'm not the son he wants. Not really. Too timid. He's never come out and said it, but I know I'm a disappointment. That's why I've always tried so hard to please him. It feels like the least I could do after turning out the way I have. Oh yeah, you're definitely a disappointment. What with your incredible grades and getting into one of the country's best universities? Your father must be feeling so shortchanged. Noah tenses, and I have to frown, my face softening with concern. That, sarcasm, by the way. I know this isn't about my academic accomplishments, though. They don't matter anymore. School was so long ago. It's all irrelevant. I'm afraid I don't see how being a genius is irrelevant. But maybe that's because I've always been a dummy myself. I laugh lightly, hoping that Noah will join in, but he doesn't. This time, he doesn't even smile. Oh dear. Cheering him up might be a bit of a tall order. I'm starting to worry, in fact, that it'll be an out-and-out impossibility, but Noah is my best friend, so I've got to try. Well, putting that to one side, regardless how you feel about yourself, you've still done a lot for your father over the years. You've already sacrificed basketball for his sake. I don't see why you should have to sacrifice the rest of your life too. Also, you can throw it away on a woman who seems to hate you. Isn't that a bit too much? That did cross my mind. This time, Noah does muster up a smile, albeit a small one, which looks depressingly downtrodden. But I told myself it didn't matter too much, Even if Haruna was a kind, sweet woman who actually cared for me, I don't think I'd be able to love her. I don't think I'll have it in me. No? No, in fact. This might sound twisted, but I wonder if it'll work out for better than Haruna doesn't like me. What do you mean? I mean, I feel less bad about trapping her in a loveless marriage. If she was a nice woman, I feel some regrets about it. The way it stands, Haruna already dislikes me. I don't think I could disappoint her more than I already have. I guess that's a silver lining, at least. I don't know if I call that a silver lining. Sounds pretty grim to me. What makes you so certain, huh? Any marriage of yours will work out badly. It's inevitable. I'll never be able to be with the person I actually love. I'd always be thinking of them, It's been a decade already, so I don't see that changing anytime soon. My feelings won't change that easily. He loves me too? Huh? Seem to be saying that a lot this night. So could anybody. I wonder, really blame me for that? This really has been a night full of revelations. This emotional heart-to-heart is starting to make my discovery that Noah smokes just like me feel relatively benign. Do you have feelings for somebody else then? You could say that. It's pointless to talk about it. I don't think they'll ever like me back. I see. I have to wonder if there's any significance in that decade that Noah mentioned. If he's like this mystery person for as long as he says he has, he must have known them for a while, and he must presumably still be in contact with them. For a few moments, I allow myself a small flicker of hope. I soon dismiss it. That will be nothing more than wishful thinking. I shouldn't indulge in it. It'll only make me feel even worse than I already do when the truth finally comes out. That truth being, I have no chance. I should just give up. Why I haven't already is a mystery. Maybe I'm a glutton for punishment. Well, if it can't be with the woman you like, it has to be talk about women, right? There's no way Noah could be referring to anybody else. There are plenty more fishes in the sea. What? Really? Noah raises an eyebrow. I'm spilling my heart out to you here, and you're going to reply with sophisms? Hey, people speak in sophisms, because they're relatable. They wouldn't get repeated so often if they didn't have a grain of truth to them, and in your case, it definitely does. You're a handsome guy and you're smart. You have a good job, you live in a nice part of Tokyo, and your family's loaded. You're a total catch. At least you would be, if you got a bit more sleep, Those bags are pretty dire. I know. Haruna was complaining about them too. Was she now? Yeah, she said I'd ruined the wedding photos. She doesn't sound very compassionate. Her father's a big shot CEO himself, so no, I don't suppose she is. I don't think she was brought up to be compassionate. You know, the more I hear about her, the less I like her. Alright, I've decided. As your best man, I can say without any hesitation that Haruna doesn't deserve you. You should call this wedding off now while you still can. I bet women will be after you just like that. I snapped my fingers in a dramatic effect. A bit of silliness which, despite the heavy mood which still pervades, is enough to coax a smile from Noah. After I'd gotten some beauty sleep, you mean? After that, yeah. I've known you for long enough to know how nicely you clean up. You're not a bad looker. Even if your old man does wind up disowning you, you'll always have your pretty face going for you. I'm certain there's a lot of women out there who'll be into you. Lots of guys too. I mean, might be laying this on a bit thick, but I'm tired of seeing Noah looking so tired, damn it. I want to cheer him up. This isn't really about me, but I've always thought you were pretty amazing myself. I mean, this is getting pretty heavy, emotionally speaking. I've come so far. Can't back down now. I always tried to hide my feelings for Noah, but I can't see the point in that now, when he looks so wretched. I'd like him to know that at least one person out there loves him, even if his fiancé doesn't. That's why I say in a rush, the words tumbling from my mouth before I can cram them back in. I've liked you for a long time. I don't know if that's the right word for it. Love might be a bit too strong, but when it comes to you, I don't know. You're more than just a friend to me. More important to me. More than you might think. Those feelings haven't gone away. I thought it was just a silly crush when I was a kid. Something I get over, but it's been 10 years and I'm still not over it. I'm still not over you. I kept dreaming about being with you, which is why it hurts so much when we start drifting apart. It hurts even more when you ask me to be your best man. I didn't want to give you my blessing. I didn't want to give you away. Not to some random woman I'd never met before. I thought that if it made you happy, it was a sacrifice I could make. I was prepared to give you up when I came here once and for all. I wouldn't be telling you about all this if I knew you were in a happy relationship. But I can see that you aren't. You don't like Miss Miyabi, and it doesn't sound like she likes you either. It sounds like being with her is making you miserable, and I don't want that. I know this might be something of a shock, but Noah. My fingers curl around Noah's shoulders, anchoring him on the spot. I might be coming on a little strong here, but I don't care. I'm tired of hearing Noah talk about himself in such self-deprecating terms. I don't want to hear about it, and when it means so much to me. It's painful, but Noah, I have to be out front with him. I like you so much. I can't stand by in good faith and let you get married to a woman you don't love. You mean too much to me. Mikage. A pink flush begins to spread across Noah's face. I half expect him to pull away. Why would he ever return my feelings, but I can't say I understand where you're coming from, really. I don't think there's anything about me that's worth loving, but if you really do feel that way about me, if you're not just saying it, it will make me really happy. After all, Noah leans in. His fingers curl against the front of my shirt. Then he stands up upon the tips of his toes. Wait! Whoa! I knew this was coming, but it's still so sweet! No! And he presses his mouth against mine. He's kissing me. Oh, this is progressing a lot more quickly than I expected. I didn't expect anything like this to happen at all, actually. I was sure that no one would reject me. Noah, to me, has always been Mr. Perfect, the student council president and one of the most academically gifted students in our class. I think part of me, the self-loathing part maybe, which was ashamed about my own feelings, that Noah was too perfect to like other guys. I could only imagine him in the future at the helm of a successful company, living in a luxurious home with a pretty wife by his side. There wasn't any room for me in that picture. We might have been friends, best friends even, but we were too different. A life that was supposed to diverge, as though decreed by destiny. But maybe I was wrong. I must have been wrong. If fate really meant for us to drift apart, why is Noah kissing me right now? I can feel his lips against my own, soft and warm, a little wet. Maybe they feel warmer than they really are thanks to how cool the weather is. It's a chilly night, but the sensation of Noah's skin against my own is thawing me out. My heart, meanwhile, feels like it's melting. I gasp against Noah's mouth, out of confusion, I think, more than anything, and Noah uses this to his advantage. He leans in, slipping his tongue between my parted lips and... Alright, I really wasn't expecting that. I mean, I wasn't expecting to kiss, full stop, but I also didn't think Noah would be this assertive about it. I'm starting to feel like a blushing maiden here. And okay, maybe I'm blushing, but I'm still almost a full head taller than Noah, damn it. I can't let him take the lead. It would be embarrassing. If he wants to play like that, then I'll have to reciprocate. Huh? I press my own lips against Noah's in return, my arms winding around his hips to better pull at his slight, slender body against my own. I dip my head, parting my lips even wider, and crush our mouths together, my tongue moving forward to meet Noah's. I kiss him just as fiercely as he kisses me, our mouths sliding against one another's. There's nothing particularly pretty about this kiss, but I can't bring myself to care about that. I wanted this for far too long. All I can do is cling to Noah like a drowning man, my fingers fisting against the fabric of his coat while my mouth presses against his over and over again. Soft sighs escape from Noah's mouth as I kiss him. They're enticing enough to make my heart skip a beat, so much so, I feel obliged to deepen the kiss. You can't just moan like that and not expect me to get all worked up, damn it. It's not possible! I kiss Noah for what seems like endless hours. I don't want to let him go. I don't want this moment to end. I like it if we could stay like this, beneath the orange glow of the street lamp, kissing without end. Mikage. But that, of course, is nothing more than idle fancy. Noah is drawing away from me, his eyes half-lidded. He looks so fragile. I want to hold him close and protect him. But what would I be protecting him from exactly in this scenario? Myself? Not sure. I inhale deeply, my chest shuddering, in an attempt to draw in enough oxygen. Despite my best efforts, however, it doesn't feel like enough. I'm woefully out of breath after that volley of kisses. Did I really kiss Noah? It really doesn't feel real. Although it's a crisp, cold night, my cheeks feel flushed. My lips are tingling from Noah's kisses, and they feel just a little bit damp. I guess that cinches it, then. I did kiss him. But maybe it would be more accurate to say that he kissed me. He was the one who initiated, after all. That, was amazing. Sure, I, didn't push things too far, did I? No, it felt pretty amazing, actually. Well, good. I'm glad you feel that way. You have no idea how long I've wanted to do that. No kidding. I didn't even have an inkling. But you've given me a pretty good idea. You don't mind it? Of course not. Why would I mind? Wanted to do that myself for years and years. Though our first kiss didn't go quite how I imagined it. You imagined it? More times than I care to admit, yeah. Never figured that we'd have our first kiss in a car park of some crummy hotel, though, or that your breath would stink of cigarettes. That's pretty novel. Oh, sorry. Didn't consider that. Hope you don't mind it too much. Nah, it's fine. I'd be a hypocrite if I gave you crap about smoking. I do it too. And after you lectured me too, you're just as bad as I am. Guilty as charged. That'll be why we get along so well, don't you think? I wonder. Noah's cheeks puffs out in a huffy manner, which is so adorable I can't help but snicker. Smoking's a bad habit. You shouldn't do it, if you care about your health. You'll develop lung problems before you're 50. I know. That's why I'm giving you grief about it myself. I don't want you getting sick or hell, dropping dead. So why don't we try and quit together? We can both support one another. That is, if you want to stay together. I don't want to push you, but it isn't too late to call off the wedding, you know. We still have some time. Mikage. A few moments of silence pass between us, moments broken by the mingled sounds of our breathing and the beating of the multitudinous wings of moths about the solitary street lamp. When I first encountered Noah standing outside a hotel in the dark, these moments of silence were painful. Now, however, they feel natural. I don't feel discomfort in Noah's presence anymore. How could I, after all that's passed between us? I've held him in my arms as he cried. Hell, I even kissed him. I think it's too late to feel any degree of discomfort now. You're right. We do have time. I was so afraid of my father and letting him down I didn't see it. Maybe I didn't let myself. Told myself I had to go through with this wedding, but maybe there is a way out of this. There definitely is. We can figure it out together. Would you mind? Of course not. It's what I'm here for. I know you have a hard time relying on yourself, but you can always rely on me. Mikage, you won't leave me, will you? Of course not. Promise? Promise. Aww! Noah presses his body against mine once more, then stands on the tip of his toes. His eyelids fall shut, his pale lashes melting together like snow. Then his lips meet my own. It's a second kiss, conducted beneath the glow of the street lamp, but I'm sure it won't be our last. How could it be, when we love each other so much? We'll have to face no shortage of trials if we want to stay together, but I'm sure we'll be able to weather them all. I've wanted this for far too long now to give up. Later that night. What do you mean later that night? What is happening tonight? What is happening? I kissed Noah in the car park for a few minutes more. Our bodies pressed together and my arms wound about his back. I kissed him almost without cease, like a man starved for oxygen, though that might be a bit of a paradox. After all, it's kissing Noah that's robbing me of my precious, much-needed air, and granting it. Wonder if that's why I feel so lightheaded when I finally pull away from him. I don't want to stop kissing him, though. I can't bear it. After all the years we've been apart, which might be why I make a, frankly, rather audacious suggestion. Ask Noah if he wouldn't mind coming back to my hotel room with me. As this in an offhand sort of way. Well, as offhand as I can manage when I'm out of breath after snogging him and my lips are swollen. But I think Noah understands the implication behind it. He does blush, however, at my inquiry, as I thought he might. He's quite a bit bolder than I imagined. So, now that I think about it, he was the one who kissed me first. Noah might not have as much experience as I do, but if he's liked me for as long as he claimed, then he must have wanted this for over a decade. That's a pretty long time to like somebody else. I would know, being Exhibit A myself. Is that why he's talking? Is this why he's taking this all in his stride? In any case, Noah doesn't fluster at my invitation, and neither does he look scandalized. Instead, he nods his head, his fingers finding my own. Gently, he squeezes my palm, and with a smile, he reassures me that he would like that. He would like it very much. After all, Noah says, his eyes crinkly in the corners, I don't think I want to be alone tonight. I couldn't stand it. I'd far rather be with you. Now if that isn't cute, I don't know what is. It really is too adorable for words. Which might be why once I get him back to my hotel room, I don't exchange any further words with him. I don't think there's anything at this point to say. So, I just had to skip a scene because, of course, it was a bit too naughty for YouTube. If you guys do want to watch it, hey, you can check it out. It's over on my Patreon. Link to that is in the description. Anyway. Hey, Noah. Huh? Noah looks at me sleepily, his eyes half-lidded. He seems pretty tired after what we just did, which is understandable. We did exert ourselves quite a lot, especially given how late it is, and how very new all of this is. He might as well have been planning to marry Miss Miyabi, but their relationship sounds like a sterile, loveless affair, the exact opposite of what passed between the two of us just now. The sheets are still a little rumpled after our affair, the beads of sweat are sticking uncomfortably to my skin. We should probably have a bath, which is why I roused Noah. I was worried he might have fallen asleep, but I guess my worries were in vain. He looks pretty awake to me. I'd hesitate to call him wide awake. His eyelids are drooping too much for that. His irises are fixed upon mine. I just want to know if that was okay for you. I didn't hurt you, did I? Noah seems to ponder this for a few moments. He looks at me. His lips pursed. They're very kissable lips, as I've discovered. Soft and sweet, before he speaks. It was a bit uncomfortable at first, sure, because I wasn't used to it. It was alright in the end, I mean. Gently, Noah smiles. I was with you. Okay, that really hit my heart. My face feels like a furnace. Jeez. Hey, Mikage, something wrong? You've gone all quiet very sudden. I'm alright. I'm just recovering. From what? From that massive blow you inflicted to my heart? I had no idea you were such a smooth talker. Huh? Noah considers this, then smiles, albeit faintly. Neither did I. I'm learning a lot about myself today. And a lot about you too. Oh? Such as? Such as you've had a crush on me for years, but you've been too cowardly to tell me? Don't rub it in! I messed up in the end, didn't I? You did, yeah. I'm a little disappointed though. You told me about all this earlier, silly. Then we could have skipped straight to the good stuff. We wouldn't have needed to wait so many years. Well, I'm so very sorry. Didn't realize you'd be so receptive to my advances. I figured you want to marry a pretty woman and start a family to please your father. That's what I thought I'd do too. That doesn't mean that's what I wanted. In fact, that's what I dreaded. All this time, the future I was really after. Noah gives my hand another squeeze. I was with you all along. You dummy. Ah! That's the second time he's made my heart jump in the last 2 minutes. Surely that can't be good for me. I thought I was the one who used to tease Noah, damn it. Other positions get reversed. It's not like it was my first time, so what am I acting even more flustered than Noah is? He's being surprisingly cool about the affair, like a cucumber. I wonder if that's because he's tired though. Maybe what happened between us hasn't hit him just yet. It sure looks like he was feeling it earlier though. The way he shuddered against me as I held him was adorable. But if I think about that, I'm gonna get worked up again. I think I'm in a desperate need of a bath. Maybe a cool shower. That should clear my head. Well, if I'm a dummy, you must be a dummy too. There's nothing to stop me from confessing to me, you know? I don't know why all the onus has to be on my end. Isn't that just the way things are between us? You're the one who invited me to play basketball with you first. And you're the one who invited me to join the basketball club in middle school. There stands a reason that you should have confessed your feelings to me first too. Alright, now this is starting to sound like victim blaming. And what were you the victim of, huh? Other than your own stupidity? We've wasted so much time. Noah sighs contemplatively. His finger still curled around mine. Think of how often we could have slept together at this point. Huh. That's what you're stuck on? You little pervert. Well, it felt good. Isn't that the point? You asked me yourself if you hadn't been too rough, didn't you? I guess. Well, if I'm being honest, something you have trouble with, apparently. I liked it a lot. It was really good, so, I'd like to do it again, if you don't mind. I don't know. I'm a pretty busy guy. Mikage! I think I can pencil you in. How does that sound? It sounds acceptable, I guess. Save me a slot, or 5. 5, huh? I snicker. You want me that badly? We need to make up for lost time. I went at it pretty hard when we played basketball, so I'm used to pushing my body to its limits. I can take it. I'm glad you can take it. But I don't think there's any hurry. We can take our time. I didn't know having adult fun times would be enough to turn you into a nymphomaniac, though. You might have learned a lot about me, but I'm learning a lot about you, too. I'm not a nymphomaniac. I'm very sorry, but I just assumed you were just begging for adult fun time, so... Alright, let me correct you. First of all, I wasn't begging. You could have fooled me. And second of all, I have discerning taste. You're the only person I want to sleep with. I don't see why wanting to have adult fun times with my boyfriend makes me a pervert. Huh? Oh, frick. I thought Noah had finished with the whole making my heart stop thing. I guess I was mistaken. Am I your boyfriend? I'd hope so. You confessed to me, then you kissed me, then you had adult fun times with me. I'm planning to jilt my fiancé for your sake, so I'd say that makes you my boyfriend, unless I'm mistaken. You didn't mean for this to be a one-off, did you? What? No, you're so much more than a one-night stand to me. then does it make you my boyfriend? I don't know what else would you be at this point. I didn't give the specifics much thought, to be honest, but yeah, you can be my boyfriend. I'd be happy. No, I'd be ecstatic, if you would. I can't think of anything else I want more. I just hope that things don't go so badly tomorrow. Are you worried about it, Noah? Of course I'm worried. I'm terrified. Haruna's a scary person, but my father's even scarier. I don't want to disappoint him, but talking to you made me realize something. What? My life is my own. I should live it for myself, not other people. For once, I want to do what makes me happy. And being with me, does that make you happy? Not quite. Like you said, happy isn't a big enough word to describe it. Being with you makes me feel like everything will be alright in the world. Everything will work out. Just maybe. Noah leans in, then presses a kiss to my forehead. Gently, he holds me close, with the tenderness of any lover. And with a smile, he says, Never thought I'd be able to stand up to my father. But you're with me. I think I might be able to muster up the courage. I don't want to give up on this now. How could I? I love you so much. Noah leans in once more and closes his eyes. I feel his breath on my skin, a little fuzzy after smoking, but no less appealing for it, and shiver. The brief distance between us is soon erased. And in an understated sort of way, Noah's mouth meets mine in a soft, sweet kiss. Anyway, that was what happened the night before. Really hope you guys enjoyed it. If you guys want to play this game for yourself, link to the game will be in the description below. And yeah, it was absolutely tender. It's so sweet. I absolutely love stories like these. And thank you so much for sticking around for these nearly 2 hours of this playthrough. But anyway, hope you all have a lovely rest of the day. And as always, I'll be seeing you in the next video. This is Lion, signing off. Ciao.